Potential Experts is brought to you by Vermontes. Craving something cheesy, crispy, and unforgettably delicious? Say hello to Vermontes Pizza, where every slice is a love letter to the Green Mountain State. From classic pepperoni to our legendary mac and cheese pizza, we're serving up bold flavors you won't find anywhere else. Order online and get 20% off your first order with promo code Vermonty20. That's VERMONTY. Hit us up on Instagram at Vermontes_Vermont Eats to see what's hot and fresh right now. Vermontes Pizza, homegrown, handmade, and hella good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Potential Experts. We got a great show for you guys. Unfortunately, we don't have Matt on this time. We thank Matt for coming on last week. He brought a different dynamic. I was a fan of that. I don't want to say I was skeptical, but I didn't think he was going to be as personable as he was on the show. So we appreciate you coming on, Matt. If you are dropping this one a listen, you did phenomenal. And more importantly, Matt and Jason, Matt's brother, congratulations. The Seattle Seahawks are Super Bowl 60 champions in what everyone, even Ethan, especially Ethan, would admit was dominant fashion. I have a few takeaways. My first being that Brandon is a sheep because all year long we were peer pressuring him about how Drake May was better than Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, and he finally concedes only for Drake May to be a bum himself. So, Brandon, you're a sheep. This is your fault, okay? Ethan has every right to be pissed at you. But, Ethan, I'll turn it to you to talk a little bit about how the game went from your perspective. I know it's probably a tough one, but you have seen your fair share of success that I'm not exactly – my heart doesn't break for you. I'm not going to lie to you. But, nonetheless, tough game.
Absolutely, yeah. I've seen the best of the Patriots, so I'm not really going to complain. And I've also seen Super Bowls where I definitely thought they had a better chance in, whether it be the 16-0 season against your Giants, the second time against the Giants, or even that Philly game in 2017. Uh, they couldn't move the ball for the first three quarters. I do think Drake May is still that guy. He didn't really get help from the left side of the offensive line.
Call him out.
It's an area.
Who are you talking about? Call him out.
Oh, we're obviously talking about Will Campbell, the T-Rex arms, as Pags and Ben are referring to. Look, Will Campbell, standout guy. A lot of respect for him for you know talking to the media the following day, the home media. He didn't talk to the media right after the game, and he explained that when he was on with the home media, and he said, "Look, I was too fired up. Probably would have said something that I would have regretted saying." So, props to him for being able to recognize that, and he's really hard on himself. I can tell. So he's talking about how people are mad and disappointed because he's highly paid. He was picked fourth overall, but he said nobody else is more mad than I am. And I sat and saw some of the clips of just like him in pass protection. It was pretty awful.
Yeah.
The Seahawks defenders were able to be in May's backfield all day. It was going to be a historically terrible performance from the offense until some garbage time yards were picked up and a couple touchdowns. But so it won't go down that way. But the first three quarters were pretty atrocious. A lot of props to the Seahawks. They have like you said, a top 10 defense probably of all time. Really elite team. Kenneth Walker ran the ball well. You guys watched it. What are your guys' thoughts? I mean, I thought the best part of the night was the halftime show.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know you were looking forward to Bad Bunny there. For me, and Julian Love, who had that late game interception on Drake May, which was one of the worst throws I've seen in the NFL all season long, one of the worst decisions I've seen in the NFL all season long, and effectively ended any chance. There was a moment right before that. I think he hit Stevenson for like a 30-yard little catch and run, and it was 19-7 at that point. There was a half a second where I looked at the guys I was hanging out watching the game with. I'm like, are they going to do this again? Are they really going to find a way again? And May drops back, throws that deep ball. I'm expecting a receiver wide open, and he just totally airmailed like a double coverage ball, and Julian Love picked it. Anyway, my point is saying Julian Love came out and he was asked about Drake May's performance in the Super Bowl, and he came out and said something along the lines of like, yeah, it was a typical performance of a young player in the Super Bowl, like taking that extra second to confirm that a guy's open instead of just doing it automatically, like he actually directly not quoted, but referred to, excuse me, Matthew Stafford. He said instead of doing it automatically like Stafford would, he have to take an extra second and figure it out. That extra second kills you in a game at the NFL level and when you're playing one of those all-time great defenses like the 2025 Seahawks undoubtedly are. Brandon, what are your thoughts on what you watched on Sunday?
So I think the big thing that we have not discussed so far has been the absolutely fantastic performance by Christian Gonzalez. I mean, he was having such a good game. I mean, the Seahawks would not have been held to 12 points if it wasn't for his performance, especially in that first half. And I was at times legitimately thinking to myself, yeah, Kenneth Walker went off and had himself a hell of a game, but Christian Gonzalez is almost deserving of that Super Bowl MVP because without him, the Patriots probably aren't even in that game for most of it. Because even going to the second half, it's like, yeah, you haven't done much, but you know what? You get a touchdown. You're right, coming out of the half, you are right back in this thing. So Christian Gonzalez, just like I said, standout performance of the game, in my opinion, and wildly overlooked just because obviously the Patriots took the L.
Brandon, next time we hang out, I'll buy you dinner if you can answer the following question. A, how many? So there's a two-parter, depending on how you do. We'll negotiate if you get half of it. How
Oh,
many
no.
losing? How many teams on? Wow, I can't speak. I apologize. How many players on the losing team in Super Bowl history, 60 games, have won MVP?
If I'm not mistaken, one.
Correct. Who? Won?
I wanna say it was Lawrence
It was
Taylor.
not. Lawrence Taylor never lost a Super Bowl.
It was a wasn't it a defensive or no, one defensive player won a Super Bowl MVP,
No, wait, way
wasn't it?
more than one have won a Super Bowl MVP.
Okay.
This
I'm
player
trying.
is a
I'm
defensive
okay.
player, if that helps you out at all. It was in the seven.
Yeah, like, I don't know, I couldn't tell you who it is, but I know there was one.
Can you name the team?
I would
It
Dallas?
was
I
Dallas.
no. Oh, it was?
Dallas.
Okay.
They won. Chuck Howley won MVP of what's
Okay.
referred to as the Blunder Bowl, which is Super Bowl five between the Colts and the Cowboys. The Colts won 16-13 on a last-second Jimmy O'Brien field goal. Jimmy O'Brien was a rookie kicker who all his teammates hated. He was an a-hole, quite frankly. And I guess like all week long, the Colts were like nervous that the game was going to come down to him kicking a potential game-winning field goal, and he nailed it. So credit to him. We can move on from that. Well, not like from the Super Bowl. Ben, did you have any thoughts on it?
I mean, it's kind of a snoozer, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't have, like, the most fun actually watching the football. I definitely don't wanna hear anyone tell me, at least for a few months, that the NFL is a superior product to the NBA. But, yeah, I mean, credit to the Seahawks. I thought they were very dominant. I did pick them at the start of the playoffs to win the whole thing. Got that right. I guess, I mean, like, I don't know much about football, so I'll kind of prompt you guys on some things. Based on that Seahawks playoff run and how they did in the regular season and how dominant that defense was, where would you rank them? I mean, amongst the Super Bowl winners of the past 15 years or so, like, are they in that upper echelon, or is it more of just they ran into an awful team in the Super Bowl that only got there because they had an easy schedule all year, had an easy schedule in the playoffs, got to avoid Bo Nix? I mean, how do those Seahawks stack up for you guys?
For me, yeah, that'd be an interesting exercise. It wouldn't be good podcasting and just go year by year and figure it out. Off the top of my head, I'd take last year's Eagles team over this team, and maybe one of the Mahomes Chiefs ones, maybe their first one when they beat Frisco. That Buccaneer team was pretty dominant, but I don't know that I'd take them over the Seahawks team. I guess though, if they played, the easy argument could be like, oh, Tom Brady or Sam Darnold. Then obviously you're gonna have to go Tom Brady in that case. Yeah, honestly, you could get into some really good arguments, especially centered around like who would you rather have, the 2025 Seahawks defense or the Legion of Boom. I mean, I feel like without thinking, the obvious answer would be LOB because they had so many highlight reel plays and they were so sound in the back end. But this front four was ridiculous of the Seahawks, and their secondary was nothing to scoff at either. Devon Witherspoon, Julian Love, Tariq Woolen, even though Seahawks fans just get frustrated with him from time to time. So I would definitely put them easily in the top five Super Bowl winning teams of the past 15 years. I think with the potential to be as high as like two or three, and as I guess depending on who you ask, they could fall out of that top five and be as low as like seven or eight. Ethan?
And like we talked
Brandon, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like we talked about, in our preview and stuff too, is that the Seattle team was just really well-rounded, right? There was no one part of that team that stuck out to you as a major weakness, a major flaw. I think the biggest question mark was at quarterback, and Sam Darnold was certainly not a bad quarterback this year. So it just really speaks volumes to the quality of team that the front office was able to put together. So I definitely agree with you. I don't know if I'd go quite as high as top two, but definitely in top five.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of good teams. You could point at the Mahomes Chiefs, one of the Patriots Super Bowls, especially the first one against Seattle. I feel like they were a very dominant team. You could look at even the Denver team. that beat Carolina. I know that Peyton wasn't really nearly at his prime, but that defense was maybe the best defense we've seen in the last 20 years, led by Von Miller. That's a tough question. They're definitely top 6.
All right, and then I got another question for you guys. I know in the NBA, oftentimes when a team falls short, they make some sort of move to retool or readjust. You very rarely see a team running it back unless they're on the very young side of things. What does New England do in this offseason? Because, I mean, we've seen it the past however many years, those teams that lose in the Super Bowl or lose deep in the playoffs, there's that whole like Super Bowl curse thing, and they come out the next year and it's not too pretty. So how can New England avoid that same issue that a bunch of other teams have been experiencing lately?
I think the gut reaction based on the game, which is not what you should do, would be to upgrade the offensive line. I actually think you allow that O-line to continue to develop. Yes, the two rookies on the left side of the line had a tough time on Sunday, but I mean, they're what, like 22 and 23, maybe 23, 24. Allow them to develop a little bit more and they'll be okay. Will Campbell, and I really respected when he spoke to the media. He said it's not an excuse, but yeah, I did tear a ligament in my knee, which obviously is gonna, hurt anybody out. I honestly think if you step back and take a look at it, you got to get yourself an alpha wide receiver one. I mean, Stephon Diggs was a no-show the other day. He really was. He had his games throughout the year where it's like, yo, Diggs went for 110 and a touchdown today. But those weren't as frequent as you'd expect to see them. Hunter Henry's a nice piece. Austin Hooper is a nice tight end too. We can joke around about Keyshawn Butte and Matt Collins. By the way, was he trying to make a political statement with his outfit? What was he doing? Are you guys familiar with what he showed up in to the Super Bowl in?
Is he wearing cuffs?
He was wearing a
Or like no, he was doing the Hannibal Lecter.
he was wearing a prison jumpsuit or something. He was like cuffed up, and I'm like, is he like trying to make a political statement, or is that just Mac being Mac? Because he shows up to every game like barefoot. He's a weirdo, but like,
I think
I
it's being Eric. He's dressed up like a
Yeah.
mechanic before.
okay.
Like he's just a weirdo.
Anyway,
Yeah, I thought it was some like 9 demon type stuff where he's like, I'm a psycho. Nah, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't think he's that good from what I've gathered.
yeah, he did make a great catch on that touchdown, though. You got to give him credit on that one. Yeah, but all kidding aside, like you guys don't have that alpha wide receiver one, and I know that teams have won Super Bowls without an alpha, but you still need like a very, very solid guy. I don't even know if at this stage of his career that I'd say Stephon Diggs is like a very, very solid guy, especially if you're asking him to assume wide receiver one duties. I think Diggs at this stage of his career would be an excellent complement to a big time guy. Like, why don't you guys go trade for like an AJ Brown or something like that? He doesn't seem too happy in Philadelphia. Go AJ Brown one side to get Diggs to complement him on the other. That to me would be pretty big time. But that'd be my gut reaction.
Yeah, I mean they definitely need some receiver help. We'll see what happens with Stephon Diggs legally. Obviously, he got in some trouble back in I think November for an altercation with his private chef. So, we'll see if he's even back in a New England Patriots uniform next year. There were some rumors that Max Crosby is going to be out with the Raiders and he wants to potentially play with Vrabel. I also saw his name floating around with the Giants, though, so we'll see. But I think a playmaker on offense, like a wide receiver one, would be huge. Those don't grow on trees, though. You might try to draft one. Brown would be a name of interest, right? He has familiarity with Vrabel and Tennessee. Yeah, Ben, you have a question?
Yeah, have you ever heard the saying like only a bad whatever blames his tools? You know what I'm talking about? Like a bad mechanic blames his tools, a bad chef blames his
Sure,
tools.
sure.
I mean, is there a possibility where you need to pivot on quarterback? Because at the end of the day, if you want a big franchise guy, they're going to make those receivers elite. I mean, who was Puka Nakua before Matthew Stafford came along? So maybe Drake's the issue. He's the guy who can get you there, but not the guy who can finish the job. I don't think he had a single impressive game in the playoffs. I don't know
That's a fact.
why you would rather have him than a guy like Jackson Dart, Jared Goff, even like a Lamar Jack. Like those guys wow you in a way that I didn't get wowed once by Drake made this entire playoff run. So I don't know. Maybe you pivot at that position. Guys like Gardner Minshew are available. They at least have a little bit of swagger to them where they're not just going to crumble in the spotlight like Drake May did. So that could be an option.
I
I'm
mean,
just putting it out there.
and Ben, I mean, let's not forget. I mean, if things had gone slightly different, then Jaden Daniels not going to Washington. You could have, maybe had a guy like him if you're willing to trade up and go get him. And there's only one more spot. And I mean, he showed up in the playoffs last year, right? He almost single-handedly
Mhm.
beat Detroit, like solid quarterback.
It almost felt like the inverse of Drake May, where Daniels brought his team to the point they got to, and Drake May was brought by his team to the point that he got to.
I know.
That is
The funny thing is,
exactly
like,
it.
I know you're trolling. Obviously, that's like in the playoffs. That's a legitimate argument to be made. Let's be real. The Patriots defense was lights out through the first 3 games that they played against the Chargers, the Texans, and then of course the Broncos in that blizzard. Drake May just kind of game managed and didn't make enough and didn't make errors and figured it out. I'm not putting obviously the entire loss on against Seahawks on Drake May. That as we already talked about, that's a generational defense. But I mean, John, I know you're trying to troll Ben, but that statement of Jaden Daniels brought his team to the NFC Championship. Drake kind of was carried by his. I think it's actually kind of a fair analysis, if I'm being 100% honest.
And we can put the MVP thing to bed, right? Seeing what Stafford did against the Seahawks defense 3 separate times this year compared to how Drake May looked against them.
Yeah, I'm comfortable doing. I was comfortable doing that regardless. Giving Stafford that award, but
He already won it. It's over.
I know. I'm just I'm
The season is over, and there's always next year.
Yeah.
Imagine what could have happened with the MVP had that one guy not voted for Justin Herbert.
Well, so that same dude, he had Stafford 2 on his and May 3. So even if you just eliminate Herbert, Stafford just wins by more than.
I mean, he had Joel and Rashawn Slater.
Had all year long, right? Just those bookend tackles.
Absolutely.
Those bookend tackles right there. All right, folks. Any last words on the Super Bowl? Again, congrats to the Seahawks. All kidding aside, I mean, you guys were so ahead of schedule. Congrats on a great season. I know it didn't end the way you wanted, but obviously the future, as much as it sucks for us, the future is once again very bright in New England. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing you could have said about Washington last year and Joe Burrow with the Bengals, and we've seen how those things have gone. So your future is looking great, Ethan, as a Patriots fan.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Comparing apples to oranges, those are 2 poverty franchises and one that's been to 11 Super Bowls in my lifetime.
Okay, calling Washington a poverty franchise is a little far. The Bengals haven't done jack, but 2 Super Bowls.
That's
Yeah, like 50 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, bud.
the most emasculating thing you could say, bud or pal. And I actually, all kidding aside, you and I were talking about this the other day. Actually, like either to or from Nick Celtics. Brandon, is your number one the Bruins or the Commanders?
Oh, yeah, we couldn't figure that out.
It kind of depends on how I'm feeling in the moment, right? Like, given I would have said the Bruins had you asked me, like, even right now, basically before we drafted Daniels, I would have said the Bruins just because at least they're competitive year in, year out. But like after we drafted Daniels, it kind of reinvigorated, and especially after Snyder sold the franchise, it kind of reinvigorated my hope for the direction of the football team. So it's kind of like I always enjoyed watching the NFL more than hockey, but I could never really like get excited about my team. Now there's like a spark of life there. So I'm saying depends on the moment right now because the Brewers are actually winning again, and Commanders obviously imploded this year.
Yeah. Okay. Fair point. I was just curious. Because that was actually in relation. I'll be honest. It was in relation to me saying, Brandon has always said that if the Whalers come back to Hartford, he'd like ditch the Bruins immediately and go to the Whalers. Like that shocks me. Like I could never do that for my number one. Obviously, who's the Knicks? Like I don't care if a team, if an expansion team opened up in my backyard. I would never do that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's a unique thing, right? The Whalers coming back to Hartford, like Hartford does not have a single other major professional sports franchise unless
The
you want
Yard
to count
Goats?
MLS.
You're gonna disrespect the
That's
Yard
not the
Goats like that?
MLS
Oh, it's
either.
not MLS? Well, whatever it is.
Wait, you thought the Yard Goats were
USL.
Major League Soccer?
No,
No.
the Hartford Athletic,
What in the world are the Yard Goats?
Yard Goats?
minor league baseball, the Double A affiliate of the Rockies.
Yeah, I used to go when I went to sleepaway camp when I was little. I go to the Binghamton Rumble Pony games.
Oh, that's a
Those are pretty elite.
That's
I
a
saw
name.
a washed, injured David Wright one time.
okay. That's pretty cool. All right, folks, let's go ahead and move it along. Let's go NBA, and then we'll wrap up with some hockey. Then it is your show at this point. Go.
I mean, it's great to hear. I got a couple NBA things for us. First one is a little more topical, so I guess we'll kick off with that. Right after we had the world's most boring sporting event in the Super Bowl, the next day, I believe, or 2 days after, I think it was the next day.
That was Monday night.
You just had another, night in the marathon that is the NBA regular season, leading up to the second marathon of the playoffs. Things went down. Big brawl in Detroit. Suspensions actually came out today. We're on the lower end than what I was
I
suspecting.
told
For those of you who didn't see, close game. Charlotte, one of the hottest teams in the league right now, at home playing against Detroit, the top team in the East. Honestly, you could make an easy argument that they've been consistently the best team in the league this year. And if you're going to disregard all like context from prior seasons, they should be the favorites for the finals. Charlotte's given them a tough game. And you got your two big men, Musa Diabate for the Hornets, exciting young big, really having a great year, breakout season, going up against Jalen Duren, another great young big who just made his first All-Star team. Diabate goes into the paint, or maybe it was Duren. I don't know. It gets physical down there. There's a foul. Guys get in each other's faces. And Duren takes his hand and just puts like full palm on Diabate's dome. Didn't like that. They start going back and forth. Miles Bridges changes up his gender of assault for the day and decides to get involved. Not endorsing that by any means. That guy's an awful human. Gets involved. Isaiah Stewart, and like not even joking, that guy really definitely needs
looking to
some
fight.
like serious counseling, some sort of mental help. Is on the bench, and the NBA's like big no. Like their biggest rule is you cannot leave the bench if there's a fight. They don't want another Malice in the Palace. It's one of the worst PR hits the league has ever seen, and so they're very against it. Stewart leaves the bench in a full sprint, ice wrap still on his knees, and is like, Miles Bridges, I'm coming for you. They're throwing punches. Bridges does a little takedown. It's a whole thing. Stewart's pulling hair. Big fight. Suspensions came out today. Stewart with the most got 7 games because he left the bench. I was thinking it'd be more around that 20-game mark just because of the bench clearing thing. Adam Silver is famously a more lenient commissioner than David Stern was with the suspensions. I would imagine if this was still Stern, Stewart would have gotten a few more. And Stewart got 7. Diabate got 4, Bridges got 4, and Duren only got 2 somehow. I'm not exactly sure how Diabate got more than Duren. That didn't make a ton of sense to me. But anyways, big fight. Made me think, while it's not hockey with the constant fighting, it's not football with the physicality, you do have some brawlers in the NBA. And with the All-Star weekend coming up, I thought we could draft our NBA Brawl Stars. And we're going to do a little snake. We're going to have 4 current players on our team, and then the final round, we'll get a 5th player from the past, which will be fun because that's oftentimes where there was more fighting and physicality before Stern really cracked down on things. So I don't know how we want to do it. We can go age before beauty. Ethan, take the first pick, and we'll do a little snake draft of our Brawl Stars.
sounds good.
Sound good?
Yeah, I like that a lot. Start us out, man.
Age before beauty. Okay. Wow. I see where that goes. I'm going about with the guy who we just talked about, Isaiah Stewart. He is a mammoth of a man. He's looking to fight. We've seen
Clear
him get.
101 right there.
Percent. You had to
He-
take him. Had to take Beef Stew.
He's looking to fight LeBron even at certain points. Yeah, easy number 1 pick for me.
So for the one,
All right, Isaiah Stewart off the board.
yeah. So for the 102, I'm gonna go with the guy that is just a terrifying human to mix it up with. I believe he had it didn't escalate, but I believe he had a bit of an altercation with Beef Stew just about a month ago. A guy that you just, for an abundance of reasons, just the size of this man, the nationality of this man, Jonas Valanciunas. I want no part of that, man. I'm going Jonas with the 102. If I go into a foxhole, I want Jonas to have my back, and likewise, I don't want to see him as my opponent in that foxhole either. So Jonas Valanciunas, the 102.
I like that pick, Ben. I think you went a little early on it. I think you would have fallen a couple rounds, but it's not a bad pick by any means. All right, so I get the turn here. I get the 103 and the 201. So I'm going to go with 2 guys, one who's just a fighter, and he's literally only in the league at this point because he is a fighter, and that's James Johnson.
Well, he's still in the league.
He may not be the guy. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's the Indiana enforcer. And he may not be the guy to start a fight because he's not going to be in the game, but he's the guy who's going to be the reason why you don't want to get into one.
Yeah.
So I'll take James Johnson. And then I want a little a little psycho next to him. And so this guy, rookie year, or maybe his second year, played for the Chicago Bulls, popped his teammate in the jaw, broke his face, and got traded because of it. And he's got the eyes. He looks like a psycho. He is a little bit of a psycho. Another guy who got into it with Isaiah Stewart somewhat recently, and that is Bobby Portis. So I got James Johnson and Bobby Portis to start myself off here.
That's a good one. I had Portis. I'm not gonna lie. I was probably thinking about taking him with the 202, but that's a good job, Ben. You know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stick with the theme here. I really am. Just enormous individuals,
My
specifically enormous.
no, 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 not pick.
What's up, Ethan?
Go ahead. I thought you were gonna take my pick, but I don't think you are.
Okay, I'm gonna go specifically with an enormous European dude. Again, I'm going Jokic. Like, I want no part of Jokic, especially when you combine the factors of, you know what? His brothers might help him out. Did you see those guys trying to get on the court when him and Marcus Morris went at it a few years ago when Morris cheap shotted him and then Jokic cheap shot him even worse? Those guys had to be restrained by like 6 big dudes. They're enormous. I want no part of the Jokic brothers. And even if we're only just taking one, which I know we are, I want no part of Jokic. So I'm taking Nikola
Yeah.
Jokic to pair with Jonas.
You should maybe Robert Kraft should talk to those guys, get him on the O line.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
gonna take a few less hits next year.
Yeah, right. E.
Hey, Drake May's got to be able to see over him.
That's true. That's true. All right, E. To you for 2.
All right, up next, I'm going with another guy who clocked his own teammate, Draymond Green. I think
It's a
that
great.
he can come in and provide a little dirty fighting, maybe a couple kicks to the groin area. So I like my chances with Draymond Green and Isaiah Stewart to start.
Ethan, you got a good team. I got to say, my favorite Draymond Green physical altercation is, I guess it was 2 years ago now, when Gobert was getting into it with someone on the Warriors, and Draymond runs in and just puts him in a headlock, and Gobert is like flailing around, like what is happening right now? Draymond is he's a sick individual. That's a good pick.
I'm gonna take his teammate next, guy who's injured right now, really scrappy player, somebody who I just wouldn't want to mess with in this, Jimmy Butler.
Okay. Fair enough. I'm not gonna lie.
I like it.
He wasn't on my list, but he's a scrapper, so I'll definitely take that. I promise I'm not gonna. I'll do something a little different with my last pick, but you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I really like my draft so far of Valanciunas and Jokic. Give me another non-American enormous white dude. Give me Steven Adams. That dude is strong as hell. And I don't care that I just swore there. That dude is strong as hell. I want no part of him either. You look up and you see Jokic, Valanciunas, and Steven Adams, you're turning around and going the other way. So I'm happily taking Adams with my 3rd round.
Excellent. All right, it's back to me now.
Yes, it is.
All right, a lot of choices to go with here. I'm gonna go with a little guy though.
But don't.
New York's very own. Shout out Nueva York, Super Bowl halftime show, Bad Bunny, and my guy Jose Alvarado, feisty guy. And I'm sorry, Ben, you got some big dudes. I saw Jose Alvarado pop a big dude right in the jaw earlier this year with no issue whatsoever. So I'm taking Alvarado. So now I got Alvarado, James Johnson, Bobby Portis. And with my next one, I feel like we're experiencing a bit of a fall off at this point in the draft. There's not someone who's jumping out at me, but I think if we're gonna go with another scrapper, we're gonna get dirty here a little bit. Like Ethan said, I need a little dirt in my fight. You can be a big guy, but if I trip your ankle when you're coming to me, you're gonna fall down. You're gonna fall down hard. So I'm taking Grayson Allen. So now I got Allen, Alvarado. My team's actually kind of looking like a team here. Like you could run these guys out on the court as a actual basketball lineup. So we got Alvarado, Grayson Allen, James Johnson, and Bobby Portis.
I like it. I'm gonna finally change up a little bit. I was gonna go Alvarado, so that's a nice pick, Ben. So obviously I already have Jokic, Valanciunas, and Steven Adams. I want a scrapper. I like I said, I have 3 enormous dudes. You don't want to mess with them, but I would need a scrapper on my team. So since I can't go Alvarado, give me Lou Dort. I like the idea.
Lou Dort.
Yeah, I mean he's a bulldog defensively. I think he'd be a bulldog in a fight. Even there was a video that the Thunder Instagram put out. Every team does like those silly videos now, but it was like one of you guys played in the NFL. Who would it be? And like it was almost like the same thing as like the Vikings video where it's like, hey, who do you not want to date your daughter? And everyone said Stephon Diggs. That's what happened here. Everyone said Lou Dort. So I'm happily going to take Lou Dort as my fourth guy here. Ethan, you
Right.
get your last pick, and then you get the first pick of the retired player draft.
Absolutely. First pick or the last pick of my active players, I'm going a former defensive player of the year, guy with a similar build kind of to Luke Dort. That's Marcus Smart. He's knocked out a fan before in college. So going with Marcus Smart. And then I'm between two guys right now for my legend pick. If I wanted to start a NBA lineup, it would be one guy, but I just need this maniac on my list. It's Kevin Garnett. Just an absolute nutcase.
A lot of bark. I don't know how much bite is there, man. A lot of bark on that guy.
I don't know. There's Scal was talking about one time in the locker room when Glenn Davis was
Brian Scalabrine, big. Sorry, go ahead.
Glenn Davis is wrestling, arm wrestling everybody, big baby. And then they all start betting on who would win, Big Baby or Kevin Garnett. Glenn Davis got down. He got Garnett's arm almost to the touch. And then Garnett looked at him and he said, I'm strong. Excuse me. You cannot.
It's a quote. It's fine. It's a quote. It's fine.
Yeah,
30.
we'll exit out 34 minutes.
I'll send out.
He
the
looks
chat.
at Glenn Davis and said, I'm a strong and then explosive. And then
Explicit.
explicit.
All right. So your guy beat another man who's famous for being a large infant in an arm wrestling match. Talked a lot of trash to Carmelo Anthony, and then ran away in the tunnel when Melo actually went to do something about it.
Have you seen him?
He didn't run
talking to
away.
Ethan
he
about this,
said,
Ben. Have you seen him
Melo,
on
over a
Shumpert's take on that?
basketball game?
Over a basketball game, Mello. Shump was in the back just in tears.
He was talking about his wife. He was talking about his
I know. That's just KG's game. All right, Ethan. So you're good? You want Garnett? Yeah. Ben, I'm feeling I might be taking your player here. There's a chance. Maybe not, though. Maybe you didn't even think about this guy. Ethan took a former franchise legend for his Celtics. I'm going to take a former franchise legend for my Knicks. And there's actually two guys that you could take here. I'm going to go with the man who is unfortunately no longer with us, actually. The late Anthony Mason. That dude was.
That's a great pick.
Yeah, dude was just. Oh my God, the Knicks in the 90s had the no layup rule. If you can't block it, put him down. No one's allowed to go down the lane. And Anthony Mason, I remember in a documentary, said the middle's the home. You can't come in there. Just unbelievable. There's obviously another front court mate that you could take that I wonder Ben might take this guy. So I won't say his name out loud. But I'm very happily going to take Anthony Mason as my retired player.
I mean, that's a great pick. I mean, there's so many Knicks guys you can go with. You can go with Charles Oakley. You can go with the X-Men. Dude, you can go with Chris Childs, pop Kobe in the jaw, too. Like, there's plenty of dudes who play on the Knicks in the 90s. But I'm going to go non-Knick because there's so many guys you can go with out of retired players. I was thinking about Barkley. I was thinking about Lambeer. But at the end of the day, and I'm shocked he made it to me here, honestly, the man from the Malice in the Palace himself, Ron Artest, is going to be my pick.
That's who I was between, him and Garnett, and I just had the bias of Garnett.
I'll play.
Yeah, I mean, I would go with the guy who actually fights and doesn't just talk for my fighting team. If this was like a trash talk team, yeah, Kevin Garnett would be a good pick. But we do. I thought there was a few other NBA players who are currently playing we could have gone with. There's the other Pistons guys, Duran and Ron Holland.
The Ben Wallace.
Şengün. Oh, Ben Wallace is a good past one. Rasheed Wallace, too. I mean, Şengün's a current guy who's maybe a little bit more dirty than a brawler. Jeremiah Fears, zero fears. He's already getting into stuff as a rookie. Miles Bridges, who we just saw. Desmond Bain was one I was considering.
Bain, yeah.
Amen Thompson had gotten into some stuff. Dylan Brooks. And, of course, a real scrapper, a feisty guy who's gotten into it with the Pistons before. Dante DiVincenzo was another guy who I had on my list.
Yeah.
But ultimately, when we're talking about the best of the best, I think we went a good route with that. So the final teams for Ethan, we have Isaiah Stewart, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, Marcus Smart, and Kevin Garnett. For Ben, we have Nikola Jokic, Jonas Valanciunas, Steven Adams, Lou Dort, and Anthony Mason. And for me, myself, Ben, as well, Jose Alvarado, Grayson Allen, Ron Artest, James Johnson, and Bobby Portis. So maybe we'll get a little graphic up on the Instagram, get a little poll on it perhaps.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that was a good segment.
That was a lot of fun.
Any other thoughts on the fighting or on that Detroit fight specifically?
No, I think you about covered it. I did tell you, you were thinking we're not going to see him for a while. He might get the entire rest of the regular season talking about beef stew. I'm like, there's no way. I would have bet it'd be closer to 10 to 15. So even I was underwhelmed by the amount. But yeah, he summed it up pretty well. But Ben just took off, which is like maybe one of the worst times he could have done that. Sometimes he does it during football, and that's cool because like
Sorry, I had to turn lights on. The sun is setting. I am back. Yeah, the only other thing with the Detroit Charlotte brawl is JB Bickerstaff, just such a soft little clown. To go up on that podium and be like, guys are always getting into fights, but it's never our guys' fault. Our guys didn't cross the line. I'm like, first of all, Duran put his hand on Diabate's face, and then Isaiah Stewart quite literally crossed the line on the court that you are not allowed to cross when there is a fight. This was a Detroit incentivized maneuver. And that's their identity. I think the difference between this and like the real bad boy Pistons was that the bad boy Pistons would do this and they would stand on it. These guys love to flip flop and play the victim and start looking to the refs when anything happens. And they're, you know, they're an annoying team. That's just my opinion. Now we're coming up on a nice big break in the NBA season, though. All-Star weekend, something that has steadily declined in recent years, but is still worth maybe a brief mention if we want to go over the different events, maybe pick our winners and pick our MVPs for the All-Star game, maybe even the Rising Stars game. If you guys even know the roster for that, I know they're not super
Claudia,
relevant anymore.
can't even tell you how really the All-Star game's exactly going to work this year. I'm kind of confused on it. There's what, 4 different teams, but is like the winner of the Rising Stars game one of the teams again? Is that what it is?
No, it's 3 teams. It's like a round robin.
Okay.
It's dumb. I'm more of an East-West type of guy.
Yeah.
We're not going to go over Nick Wright's proposal that he put out there today. That could be interesting, though. And yeah, so why don't we start with the All-Star game? Ethan, who's your pick for All-Star MVP this year?
Give me Jalen Brunson, guy who can score a lot in volume. And the All-Star game is about putting up a lot of points, so I think he's a prime candidate for it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
For me, I'm going to go with a guy. I mean, the All-Star game is infamously known in the past however many years for being not competitive at all. Guys just not really caring. And I think we talked about this before on the pod. I think it might end up shifting a little bit because one of the future, well, probably the future face of the league, realistically, does seem to care a lot. He's ultra competitive, and he seems to really give a crap about how he represents himself, his team, his country at the NBA All-Star Game. So with that, I was actually just watching highlights of him because I'm watching NBA Countdown. I'm going Victor Wembanyama. I think Wemby's going to he's going to play competitive. He's going to play hard. He's going to have a few highlight reel dunks. He's going to hit a few step back 3-pointers, and he's going to have a few highlight reel blocks as well. And those are going to stick with the voters, and he will win All-Star Game MVP.
Yeah, I don't mind it. That was my number one option. I figured someone would take it, though, so I came with a backup, and that backup would be Luka Doncic. Kind of a similar case to Brunson, but he's just still a little bigger and a little better at all those things. And he'll be on Wembanyama's team, so if they win, and, maybe Wemby's doing the dirty work, but Luka's just banging threes all night. He's putting up a lot of points. He goes ahead and gets it. Brandon, you could throw out an All-Star Game MVP.
Yeah, come on, man.
All right. You guys took the 2 big. I would have gone Wemby. The problem is I don't even know who's still relevant.
Yeah, just take a guess.
Give a name.
Don't look anything up.
You know what?
Don't look anything up.
Fine. We'll go Legacy Award, LeBron James.
Not playing. Next.
LeBron.
There you go.
I like it. Stick with it. He could do like a little Royal Rumble, just pop in there, and we're all like, "Wow, LeBron!" And he gets it. I gotta say one thing. Since about December, there's another old man who's probably been the best player in the league, and that is Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
He's not going to be an All-Star Game MVP or anything, but when we're talking about just the rest of the year and going forward, that Clippers deadline is looking worse to me by the day, just because, like, dude, the West seems relatively open this year, and Kawhi can easily be the best player in any series. So I'll be interested to see what that future there holds. And I'm glad he'll at least be at All-Star Weekend after getting. I'm not normally a big snub guy when it comes to this All-Star stuff, but Kawhi Leonard was a snub off rip because that dude is, I mean, he's back to basically peak Kawhi levels, and we'll see if he can keep it up. But for right now, that is where he is at.
I agree.
All right, 3-point contest winner. Give me a give me a shout, Ben.
So I'm still bitter about the 3-point contest. The reason I'm bitter about it is because somehow the Knicks allowed Julius Randle to trot out there a few years ago, and I still remember Kaiden, yet he was younger, just like
For balling.
after Julius's All-Star, 3-point contest appearance. 'Cause it's like, man, how did we allow for that to happen? I'm looking at the list right now, and gut wise, I want to go Con Knipple, but I'm not. I think that's going to be like a big moment for him. I think you got to go with the guy that like isn't going to care that much, and therefore it's going to be much easier for him. Give me Devin Booker to win his second all-time 3-point contest.
I like it. Ethan, what about you?
Yeah. Give me Klay Thompson Jr., Con Knipple. He's just so fun to watch. His shot reminds me of Clay. What a player, man. The Hornets got a steal, and him and Brandon Miller, you mentioned this a few weeks ago. They're a fun team. They had just won 9 straight before losing to Detroit.
I'm really hoping we get that in the first round come April. That would be awesome. Quick aside here for my basketball people. This draft is insane. It is so very good. Going forward, for their career, you're starting a team. Would you rather have Con Knipple or VJ Edgecombe?
Con.
Yeah, probably Con.
I don't hesitate, really.
You don't hesitate?
Not really, no.
Edgecombe's really good.
Edgecombe is really good. He's too streaky. Con's consistent.
Yeah, but he's streaky as a rookie.
Things, too.
Listen, the great thing about this is we're going to be able to come back to it 3 years from now and just say, hey, Tags, were you?
If we're all still kicking it by then, someone could die. You never know.
Lord.
True.
I mean, that's factual, but wow. All right.
Got dark real quick.
That did.
What are the odds on potential? Well, maybe we'll save that for like dog days of the summer. Who's gonna be first to die here? It's a good question. My guy for the 3-point contest would be Jamal Murray. And just thinking back for like the past few years, it's always a guy who just gets in the rhythm and you can just see him flick, flick, flick. They don't have a ton of jump on their jump shot. Murray's kind of got a nice set base. I could just see him catching rhythm and just. And it's another guy, like you said, it's not like the biggest deal in the world for him to be in the 3-point contest. He's, played in an NBA Finals, he playoff runs, he's got his first All-Star game. I think that 3-point contest is just, it's there. I always think it's better to go with guys who are already there for something else and then hop in the 3-point contest as opposed to someone who's there just for that moment.
Yeah.
Do we dunk
I'm
contest?
looking at the participants. I mean, this is the
Brandon, name one person in the dunk contest.
Max McClung.
no.
Nope, not
But
this year.
I've got enough of that.
Oh my god, Brandon, I'm gonna
I
name
don't even
4
know.
names. Just tell me if you've even heard of these individuals. Okay, I'm gonna start with least likely and progress towards most likely. All right, Kashad
There's
Johnson.
no way.
I had never heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
Jace Richardson.
You don't know Jace Richardson?
Shut up. I know who Jace Richardson is. Carter Bryant. This last person is you're not gonna know him, but you might. Jackson Hayes.
I feel like I might have heard that name in passing, but also Jackson and Hayes are not exactly uncommon names.
That's also fair. Give me Carter Bryant to win the dunk contest. I don't know. I watched him play. He's got some pretty good bunnies. I watched him against the Mavs the other day when shout out Stephon Castle went for 42, 12, and 12. That was ridiculous. But Carter Bryant was another young player that stole the show as well. He was blocking everything. So I thought that was kind of cool. Give me Carter Bryant to win the dunk contest.
Give me back prime Blake Griffin.
Jumping over the Kia. Nice.
Yeah, Kashad Johnson, I think, is the shortest guy there. I don't know. Whoever's the shortest out of those 4, I'd go with because that always looks the most impressive. This is an awful field. I mean, I still think the 3-point contest has juice after all these years. It's probably the last thing in the All-Star weekend that is fun to watch, especially with the advent of some new applications on your phone that they were really pushing at the Super Bowl. Dunk contest blows. I mean, I'm not going to watch it. I'll be quite honest. I couldn't care for it.
What they need to do is they need to bring in actual professional dunkers. Like I think somebody said they're like of the top 100 dunkers in the world, maybe 10 of them are NBA players. Maybe like being a professional dunker is a completely different skill set that you can be so much better than even like Zion Williamson at. So like they need to bring in like 4 or 5 professional dunkers and let them just like show their stuff on one of the biggest stages that you possibly can, the NBA All-Star Weekend. So that'd be my 2 cents to Commissioner Silver, but I'm gonna go on a limb and say he probably doesn't listen.
My solution to this, you bring in stars who aren't known for dunking, so they don't have the pressure to do well. Because I think that's what keeps guys like Zion and like a younger LeBron out of this thing. But if you put in Jalen Brunson, Steph Curry, and you see one of those guys pull a 360, something you'd never see them come close to doing in a game, you're like, whoa. Like, there's the video of Steph dunking in warmups where everyone's like, this is insane. I think you got a big wow factor if you got your under the rim guys in a typical NBA game going out there and throwing down some dunks. That would
Well,
be my
What
method.
about a
I
3-point
don't think I've
contest with
ever
like
seen.
Rudy Gobert, Shaq, and Mitch?
Big Mitch
Hey,
out there on the
we're
line.
we're going for entertainment, not
That
disappointment.
would be entertaining. Trust me. Honestly, I would absolutely watch a free throw shooting contest between Mitch and Rudy Gobert.
Has Brunson ever had an in-game dunk? Like
Yes.
that's
Brunson?
Yeah.
He'll do like one like rim grazer on a fast break a year, and then he always like looks at the rim and he's like, well, and it's
And
like,
then
all
Hart
right,
just
man,
fouls him.
maybe pass the ball every once in a while, in the clutch.
Yeah. Cat carried us
It's
last
a
night.
tough one yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a rivalry ranking at some point when football's out the window.
Sounds good.
It's a fun topic.
All right, Ben.
Ethan, I don't know. That's all I have for the All-Star weekend.
Sounds good.
Their shooting stars is back. That's kind of a fun one. Not really though. Celeb game. I'm taking Taco Fall to win the MVP for that one.
yeah.
Maybe a
Shams.
little insanity.
I'm taking Shams.
Shams gonna be benched. That
I really hope
that
he's
dude's not
the
getting
worst
run.
Cooper out there.
What's up?
I really hope he's the worst player out.
Yeah, I know you hate Shams. Oh man.
What about the NFL guys? What NFL guys are out there? It's Amon Ra and who else?
I literally had
There's one other one.
I could not possibly tell you.
I know Amon Ra is playing because he's not playing anything else in February anytime soon. So
Oh, poor
it's
Jeff.
good for him.
Poor Jeff. Okay, Ben. Are you good on NBA? Are we ready to move to
Yeah, you have my permission.
I appreciate that.
You can continue. Yeah.
So we are going to talk a little bit Olympic hockey, but before we do have an update on a story that Brandon reported last week. He was first to that. Brandon, talk about the Gavin McKenna situation. Give a little background and what updates are you hearing?
Yeah, so we did talk a little bit about it last week. Gavin McKenna, after their Penn State outdoor game, McKenna's projected first overall pick in this upcoming draft, apparently like socked a guy outside a bar after their outdoor game and broke his jaw. And as we discussed on last week's episode, he was charged with aggravated assault, felony charge, carries up to 20-year prison sentence. So something that had to have been a major red flag for anyone with any intent on drafting him, whoever gets that first overall pick. But as of a couple days after we recorded that last episode, news broke that the felony charges were in fact dropped. He was still facing a misdemeanor charge, but the prison sentence is off the table. Gavin McKenna will be certainly up high on some draft boards in a couple of weeks for NHL, or in a couple months for NHL teams. That is
I was
the
gonna
longer
say
question.
if you're a professional athlete, I guess you just don't go to jail. It's pretty insane how they just get away
Or,
with it. It's weird because
or
we've seen in
pub.
the past few weeks our political system and arresting people in high status works so well in other facets of life. So it's shocking that athletes just get off the hook.
I'm unsurprised though. Hi, Brandon. Let's go ahead and move towards some Olympic preview, even though they have technically started. Actually, the first thing is not a preview. So Slovakia upset Finland in the prelim. Is that today or yesterday?
Yeah, that was earlier today. We had 2 games today. We had Slovakia and Finland and Sweden and Italy, and both of those games were a little bit tighter than you might have expected. The Slovakia versus Finland game that took place today. So the games we saw today were a little bit closer than we would have imagined. All of the teams that played today are in Group B. So Slovakia, Finland, Sweden, and Italy. Slovakia versus Finland, that was the first game up today, and Finland and Sweden are going to be the two we think that are mainly competing for that Group B first place finish after the preliminary round. But Finland upset today by Slovakia, not just a little bit, 4-1. Don't get me wrong, Slovakia has some NHL players, has a couple heavy hitters, but they are not as deep as the Finland and Sweden rosters. Juraj Slafkovsky, first overall pick by the Montreal Canadiens a few years ago, playing for Slovakia at this tournament, 3 points in the win over Finland today. So he's certainly going to be a guy you're going to want to keep an eye on the rest of the tournament, as it looks like Slovakia is getting ready to make some noise. But then the more surprising of the two, I mean, Ethan, you seemed a little bit interested in this earlier when I was texting about it in the group chat, but Italy. They've got one guy who's an NHL draft pick on the entire roster. Hasn't even played in the NHL. He was just a draft pick. And they were taking it to Team Sweden for a little bit there. Tied at 2 shots. You would not have thought the score would be that close because it was like 33-4 at one point. But score tied at 2, and that's what matters. Sweden did pull through and get the win, but Italy definitely a team that they should have been beating more handily than the scoreboard indicated. So that's all I got as far as today's matchups go. Things really get into a swing tomorrow when Group A and C will be in full swing, getting everybody their first game out of the preliminary round out of the way. USA, we do have a game tomorrow playing Latvia. Double check the schedule real quick. So taking on Latvia tomorrow
Any
at
chance
about
Porzingis
3
is
o'clock
playing?
Eastern. I don't think so. Cannot confirm that. I don't know. There may be a surprise last minute addition to the roster, but I think it's safe to say Porzingis will most likely be out on that one.
Dan, what's up?
In terms of Winter Olympic talk, that did start, correct?
Yes.
Yes, last
Like
week.
it's been going for a few days. Okay. So this was from the actual Olympics. Did you see the guy go up the hill on skis in like sub 6 mile time?
No.
I saw this on Twitter. Not a big Winter Olympic guy, not a big like winter sport dude in general, but back at UVM, there were some kids who like did some random Olympic winter sports. I knew a girl who bobsledded. I knew a guy who did that. What's it called? Nordic skiing, alpine skiing.
Cross country.
No, but it's when you're going. It's when you're going uphill. It's like a different thing than cross
Is that
country.
then Ogden?
But this dude went. No, did it for some like random like Swiss type country. Anyways, this dude went uphill on skis in sub 6. Very impressive to me, and apparently very impressive in that world of sports as well. So, congratulations for doing that. Winter Olympics firing away.
Sounds good.
What's going on in the curling world? Anybody know?
Got nothing for you on that front. Nope.
Mm.
I know
Ethan, I
it
think
was
if
on
you-
today, but that's about it.
Well,
Ethan, I think if you were to go pro in a sport, I think it could be curling, man.
You think so?
Hey,
I think
let's
you could do
go.
that.
It's what 4 guys on the team, but you got the guy who throws it and then a couple guys to sweep. Isn't there one other person? So, maybe we have a potential experts curling team. Maybe
I
that's
don't
what
know.
we do.
I think I would probably slip.
Yeah, I don't know. I would definitely be the thrower though, and then you guys would catch in that scenario if we were to do such a thing. Oh, another NBA thing. I gotta say, caught me off guard. A lot of the Guatemalan youth very upset about this Jared McCain trade. Multiple kids are like, they traded Jared McCain. I'm like, he's not dead. He's in a better situation now. It's not like he was going to get a lot of run behind Maxey and Edgecombe anyway. But Jared McCain hitting hard down here.
That's a strange one. Big 2 days into college fans down there?
They like the TikToks. They're aware of the TikToks. Oh, he is playing in the celebrity game. Don't know how that works, but he will be. Oh no, not the. He's in the celebrity 3-point shootout. Jared McCain going up against the likes of Drewski and others. So that will be something. If McCain loses that, you better not hop on Twitter for a while. I gotta say.
Drewski. If I really need to say it, I write it down.
It's messed up, man.
That's it. Okay, Brandon, sorry. We monopolized this. Go ahead. So there's a few questions about the United States lineup, and I'd also love to hear a really quick just United States group breakdown. Do we expect them to get out of their group? Do we expect them maybe to be? Are there wild cards?
No, they're not wild cards.
Okay, or so do we expect them to get out of their?
This is the Olympics. You think there's wild cards, pal? Come on.
My bad.
All right, so talking about lineup for the U.S. team, obviously, I think given that we are pretty much a U.S.-based pod, that's the team that we are most interested in. So looking at the forward group, this is a big concern that I have. So, Pags, you might remember this. If we go back to 2019, right, the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Blue Jackets got in as a wild card team. Tampa Bay Lightning had that record-setting year, one of the best regular seasons in NHL history, the best at the time. That's kind of a situation that U.S. has to prepare itself for in this tournament because Canada has the deepest roster, as was expected. Goaltending is probably their biggest weakness, as we've talked about in the past. But as far as their skaters go, they have the best roster in the Olympics. That's not particularly in question. So when I look at the U.S. roster, it can certainly compete with what the Canadians have thrown out there, but there were a lot of questions about leaving some major goal scorers off the roster for Team USA. Three of the top U.S.-born goal scorers in the NHL this season not on the Team USA roster. So when I look at this, I say to myself, we have to kind of take that, Team USA should be taking the approach of that Columbus Blue Jackets team. You need to be able to roll 4 lines. Every single line has to be able to do something to put goals up on the board, has to be an important contributor to this roster. And right now, your 3 top goal scorers, Jake Gensel, Austin Matthews, and Matt Boldy, are all playing on the same line. And that to me is a big red flag because while, don't be wrong, there's plenty of star power in this U.S. forward group, you need to break up your top 3 goal scorers a little bit. You need somebody who can pass the puck around a little bit. I'm looking right now, you've got the Chuck brothers on a line together, and I love that. With Jack Eichel in the center, I would love to see Austin Matthews maybe step up into between those 2 wingers and, have him passing the puck a little bit more to Gensel and Boldy, even more of a, maybe bringing Dylan Larkin up from the 3rd line. I just think that spreading around that goal scoring talent would heavily benefit this U.S. team as they really need to spread that throughout the lineup. And then we talked about the goaltending situation a little bit before the season started. As of right now, based on the first couple practices we've seen, looks like Connor Hellebuyck is going to get the main start in net. He was the only guy in that first practice to not sub out. He played one end the entire practice, and we saw Ottinger and Swayman split the net on the other side. So looks like Hellebuyck is going to be the de facto starter for this tournament. Yeah, Ethan, what's up?
Yeah, I do have a question. Is Russia participating in the tournament?
So that is actually something I wanted to get to on my next topic. So that's pretty much what I got for the U.S. breakdown there, as far as what I'd like to see from the lineup. But looking at the standings, so in Group A, you've got Canada, Czechia, Switzerland, and France. Okay, so Canada is the clear favorite there. Czechia's been making some noise internationally the last few years, so Czechia is going to be the team that Canada should be getting the most competition out of. Not to say Switzerland and France can't, based on what we saw today out of Italy, but Czechia is clearly the second best team in that group. Group B, we talked about a little bit already. Finland, Sweden, Slovakia, Italy. Slovakia making some noise, but Finland and Sweden are the 2 clear front runners in terms of just talent on the roster. Then you get to Group C. United States, Latvia, Germany, and Denmark. This is realistically the group that Russia would have been in if they were competing in this tournament, just from a standpoint of making sure all the groups are relatively equal in terms of talent, going into the preliminary round. The United States has the easiest route. It's not really in question because Latvia and Denmark will have very few NHL caliber players on the roster. The United States is entirely made up of NHL players, and Germany will have a few guys on their top couple of lines, but there's really no one in that group to give the United States some competition. And that truly does actually worry me for what it's going to mean when the games matter. Because yes, they're going to have an easy route to get to the medal rounds, but I just worry about the type of talent they're going to be prepared to play. Are they going to be ready to face a juggernaut like Canada in a medal round when you're going to have easily the easiest path to it going forward? Pags.
So you said there's 3 groups, is that correct?
Correct.
How is there not going to be a wild card?
I do not believe there's a wild card.
That wasn't the question.
Hang on. Let me look at the schedule because the schedule has it all laid out.
So where would Russia be as far as like talent wise? Would they be competing for gold right now? Like they're banned in soccer, but it's not the same like talent level.
Yeah, so generally speaking, Russia would be arguably the 3rd best country in the world in terms of talent produced. Sweden, I would say, has kind of closed the gap with them in recent years. But Russia is easily top 5 country in the world in terms of NHL caliber talent. All right.
Randy, got
All
me
right,
looking
so
at Olympic hockey, like qualifying stuff. Like, what are we doing?
so there will be qualification games for the playoff. So each it looks like everyone gets basically everyone gets to continue after the preliminary round. It's just a matter of how fast are you eliminated.
Got it. Okay, sounds good.
Yep.
All right, so I have participation trophy. That's what the Olympic hockey is about. Participation trophies. Sounds good. All right, Brandon. Anything else? I'm just playing. Anything else on this
Yeah,
matter?
that's all I got for you guys. So appreciate the time to talk hockey.
Yep. Awesome. Anybody got a baseball fact for the week? Anything at all? Pitchers and catches.
The Yankees are
Some teams.
quite literally just running it back.
Yeah.
So that's something.
The World Baseball Classic, I believe, is starting soon. Um,
Well,
not
I'm
that I
so excited for that.
not that I have much interest, honestly, but
Yeah.
Anyone from the Red Sox playing?
I'm pretty pumped for that, actually.
I don't care.
I got Verlander going back to Detroit on a 1 year.
Yeah, no, the World Baseball Classic's gonna be pretty cool. I was actually like, I didn't lose any sleep over it, but when the United States lost to Japan a few years ago, I was kind of like, oh man, that sucks. But regardless, should be a super fun time. Any last second things tonight, boys? I know I assume the Celtics started a few minutes ago. The Knicks just started up. Anything else?
I forgot about that.
Well, yeah, I just want to mention my gripes about the World Baseball Classic.
Okay.
2 quick things, and it both revolves around consistency. The first one is it's not consistently like 3 years apart, 4 years apart. It kind of changes up. So
I hate being surprised.
I'm not a fan of that. And secondly, I'm not a fan of team or players switching nationalities. For example, Nolan Arenado played for the U.S. last World Baseball Classic, and now he's going to play for Puerto Rico. I just don't really understand how that really works. So those are my 2 gripes for the World Baseball Classic.
I mean, Puerto Rico's got motion right now. You know, you
They
gotta ride the wave.
That is true.
They do.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I appreciate you. You giving that gripe. Usually you don't talk too much baseball anymore. Oh, good hands. That's off him. Nice job. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching and/or listening. We will be back at you next week where we're talking maybe a little NBA, nothing crazy because we'll be coming off the All-Star break, and then we'll also be diving into some more Olympics as we can finally put the NFL behind us. Mikal Bridges for 3. Bang. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Peace.
That's how I know it's the first quarter. Bye.